Hello, I'm Dr. Rod Rock, Superintendent of the Clarkston Community Schools. Today we are introducing a new Independence television series entitled Be a Kid in Clarkston. This show will focus on belonging via the whole person for a whole life and involving the whole community. We will offer local, state, and national perspectives on childhood development, education, friendships, parenting, adolescence, physical and mental well-being, aging, and recreation. Be a Kid in Clarkston refers not just to childhood, but also to the idea of living a childlike existence for a lifetime. As an educator, it is my deepest hope that every child develops an inquisitive mind, a sense of passion and purpose, a sense of self, and a sense of belonging. I hope that these senses, with the help and support of our community, will remain in place for life as we experience ups and downs. There exists a great deal of research related to personal health and wellness. We know through a variety of studies, including one published recently by the Cleveland Clinic, that undue stress in childhood has lifelong negative effects on people. We know that a mother's level of attained education is very important in the pursuit and advancement of education for children. We also know of the vital importance of prenatal and infant health care. If you look up the literal definition of childhood in the dictionary, it means the state or condition of being a child. This certainly includes healthy mental and physical development, nutrition, and safety. It also means vital interactions with other children and adults, observing and mimicking behaviors, and social development through play. Most importantly, it means the development of the brain. Children require safe, healthy, challenging, supportive, and engaging environments in order to fully develop as positive contributors to our global society. Absent such environments, children will struggle to learn in school and to develop the social skills for a successful and happy life. This, as a community, is our collective challenge and responsibility. We must ensure that every child is raised in a safe, healthy, challenging, supporting, and engaging environment. It is imperative that our community ensures these elements for every citizen. This is being a kid in Clarkston. In order to explore these issues, a leading citizen of our community, Mrs. Angela Avery, will serve as the host of Be a Kid in Clarkston. Angela is a lifelong resident of Clarkston, raises her family in our community, and serves in downtown Clarkston as a professional licensed counselor for youth. Recently, Angela was invited by the Clarkston Chamber of Commerce to speak with community members on personal skill building in the areas of agency and self-actualization, which are certainly vital for youth and adults alike. We are grateful to Angela for sharing her expertise with our community. Also with us on today's show is Ms. Stacy Puzio, the Clarkston Community Schools Administrator of Testing and Research. Stacy will share with us about the school district's Whole Child Initiative. I'd like to introduce you to Angela Avery and to Stacy Puzio. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Let's begin with Angela. Please share with our audience members your thoughts on this idea of being a kid in Clarkston. Why do you feel so passionately about this topic? How does your experience as a professional counselor influence your thinking?
Great question, thank you. I'm passionate about this topic because I'm passionate about kids. This idea of being a kid in Clarkston is near and dear to my heart because I grew up in Clarkston, my children grew up in Clarkston, and my client base is here. We all know that Clarkston has so many wonderful resources, such as our schools, Parks and Rec Department, our library, but we also have such an undercurrent of parental and community support to help raise responsible, independent children. From my therapist lens, I see the struggles that kids are having in society today, even in Clarkston. That really concerns me. I want to provide a forum to talk about these issues and how we, as a Clarkston community, can positively contribute.
We will produce 2 episodes of Be a Kid in Clarkston each month throughout the year. Who do you hope will tune into our show, Angela, and what do you hope they will learn? Why should people watch?
Yeah, I'm hopeful that parents and grandparents, concerned citizens, and community members will tune in to hear how Clarkston is shaping the whole child. Our topics will range from early childhood development to information resources for a depressed teen, from prenatal care to how bullying affects communities, sort of the whole range.
And how do you think that your lifelong association within Clarkston and your professional perspective as a counselor, will inform the show's topics?
Yeah, well, I think my professional perspective is always at the forefront. I want to help children live their best lives. And we do that by educating our community and providing parental support. From a personal perspective, I loved walking up to Rudy's Market or swimming in Deer Lake or skiing at Pine Knob. Back then, though, the challenges of youth were different. I think we can shed some light on the current issues facing today's kids.
And what resources and research will guide your thinking as you host the show?
Keeping the whole child initiative and perspective in mind, we'll be pulling research and resources each time we talk, that pertain to it. As the host, I'd like to be an open book, if you will, and learn from each of our experts just like the rest of the community. From my perspective, children learn what they live, and we live in a great community of experts with a variety of perspectives.
And who do you expect will appear as expert guests on the show?
Yeah, as the show progresses, we're going to look forward to hearing from experts in child development, pediatrics, education, parenting, and health and wellness.
That's excellent. And what else would you like our audience members to know, Angela?
Oh, I'm so grateful to have this opportunity and bring these topics to the audience, and I can't wait to get started.
Well, thank you again, Angela, for your generosity and expertise in hosting this vital public television series for our community. And we look forward to learning much more with and from you.
Thank you.
Now turning to Ms. Stacy Puzio, as I mentioned, the Clarkston Community Schools Administrator of Testing and Research. Thank you very much, Stacy, for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Stacy, please share with our audience your recent work with the schools and the community on the Whole Child Initiative. What is this? What does it mean? And why is it important?
Well, earlier you said that our children require safe, healthy, challenging, supportive, and engaging environments in order to fully develop as positive contributors to our global society. The Whole Child Initiative is about ensuring all of those things are in place for each and every child. It is about recognizing individual gifts and talents that are innately part of each child and working to inspire them and nurture their passions. I've heard it said that educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. The Whole Child Initiative is about educating the heart, mind, and body of each and every child. In order to do this, we must have supports and structures in place that guide every child. The adults in our organization have a collective responsibility to work together to cultivate an environment that provides the social, emotional, and academic balance for each child to be successful.
And how did you go about obtaining feedback from parents, teachers, and students related to the Whole Child Initiative?
Our first step was for each building to examine their current program support structure for meeting the behavioral, emotional, and social needs of every child. This included both proactive and responsive approaches. Each building team consisted of a cross-section of stakeholders that included classroom teachers, educators who support our special ed and struggling populations, co-curricular teachers, counselors, parents, and administrators. In addition, demographic and student academic data was compiled for each individual building and the district as a whole, and perception data was collected through surveys of staff, students, and parents. This fall, individual building teams and a district team examined all of this information that was collected, noting observations and patterns and trends in the data, and created a summary statement and a wish for the future. In December, over 81 stakeholders came together who represented these teams, and they came together so that this information could be shared. The conversations allowed everyone to learn of the commonalities and the differences between the buildings and that make up our district as a whole.
So what story did the data tell?
Well, there's inconsistency of programming in our buildings and across the district. As teachers have moved between buildings and leadership has changed, a shift occurred from having a focus that was building-based to one that was really about individual classroom focus. So there's a desire for consistency and collaboration across the district. Overall, there is an increased need for emotional, behavioral, and social supports as the needs of families and kids change. As this need has increased, budget cuts over the last 10 years have decreased the support personnel who would address these needs, and this has created a perfect storm. In the elementary, there's an increase in academic expectations and pace. Teachers are working diligently to meet these increased demands while trying to find balance to incorporate play and social opportunities for our kids. Also, the survey data showed that while students felt safe in their classroom, there were some concerns about unstructured time, such as at lunchtime, bus, and recess. In the secondary, students reported that they did not feel connected to adults in the building. However, this was not true at Renaissance High School, where they incorporate a community forum where small groups of students consistently meet with a teacher mentor. This is a desire to increase the supports available for all students to address the critical, emotional, social, behavioral, and academic needs.
So what research is behind this idea of the whole child?
The ASCD, a global educational organization, launched a Whole Child Initiative in 2007. Each of the 5 tenets of the initiative, safe, healthy, engaged, supported, and challenged students, is backed by research. We know that regular physical activity and good, wholesome food impacts student achievement and the ability to sustain learning. A child who feels safe in school has higher academic achievement and increased engagement in school. A learner who feels engaged and challenged is more likely to stay in school and achieve academically. Students who truly feel supported by adults at school are less likely to turn to negative behaviors that can have dire consequences.
So what are the next steps for the school district, Stacy? What can parents and communities expect and community members expect, and what are your hopes?
The initial next step is for each building to examine and implement a positive approach for behavior while also putting a responsive process into place. This helps to create that safe and supported environment that our children must have to flourish. In addition, we are currently examining our reporting system for our K-5 to provide parents and students with individual feedback on learning and growth, and so we may be partners in supporting our children. As we move forward, we want to attend to growing a healthy, engaged, and challenged environment for all learners. This includes things like world language beginning in the preschool and elementary, increasing visual and musical arts and physical education so we nurture the minds and bodies of each individual child, and continuing to re-examine the systems we have in place so that our learners have opportunities for integrated and authentic learning experiences that stretch their minds and nurture their passions. My hope is that our community continues to work together with a shared mission to meet the needs of the whole child. We have amazing people and organizations in Clarkston, as you mentioned, that are working to provide the necessary supports for our children. Imagine the synergy that will happen when all of these areas intertwine and come together as a united front for our children.
Thank you, Stacy, very much for sharing your perspectives, and we look forward to hearing more from you on these topics in the future. So we've covered a great deal here on our first episode of Be a Kid in Clarkston. I'm very excited to have this resource for our community. As an educator, I pay very close attention to research on learning, teaching, leadership, and child development. I feel deeply and personally that each child requires the best possible education, which ultimately benefits all of humanity. I believe that such an education requires an excellent, nurturing, and healthy start from conception for each child, an exceptional school system, and a phenomenal community. Beyond this, I believe that the ideas of the whole child, healthy, safe, challenging, engaging, and supportive, must be in place for each person for a lifetime. I hope that this show can paint a picture of such a lifetime, informing parents, educators, and citizens alike. I truly hope that this series highlights the excellence of the Clarkston community, brings us closer together in the pursuit of an excellent childhood for each child, and leads us to a unified and shared vision of what is required of each child in Clarkston from birth through the end of life. On March 12th, the Clarkston Chamber of Commerce, the Clarkston Community Schools, and McLaren Clarkston will host the 3rd annual Body, Mind, Green Community Expo at Clarkston High School from 5:30 to 8 p.m. The theme for the evening is Connecting, Cultivating, and Thriving in Clarkston. Admission is free, and over 30 community health and wellness organizations will be on hand to share their products and services. I have the honor of giving a keynote address as part of the expo at 5:30, along with a healthcare professional from McLaren. This event is for community members, kids, parents, and educators. We expect a terrific turnout. Please don't miss it. Thank you again for tuning in to our show. Thanks to our guests, Mrs. Angela Avery and Miss Stacy Puzio. Please come back in 2 weeks as Angela Avery serves as the host and explores the ideas of early childhood development and education.